Welcome to Revive Ministries Livestream. Today is a very special episode. It's entitled Maintaining Wellness and Recovery Through COVID-19. And what makes this live stream so special is that I have my good friend Joel, who's been on the podcast before, and also he brought some friends from Okinawa. Yay!
Flew in today, just landed in Ralston, West Virginia.
Believe that?
Yeah, so we're here. Joel, if you know Revive Ministries, we do a podcast, and Joel has been on it a couple times, but I just wanted to have Joel still share, because I don't assume all of you watching today have heard my podcast. So, Joel, can you share a little bit about yourself, and then maybe introduce your friends and they can share a little about themselves as we begin.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, Rob and I met probably, I don't know, Rob, it's been maybe close to 10 years now, almost.
Getting close.
Pretty close to that, yeah. And, I've been pastoring for many years, been pastoring, in the Adventist church. And Rob actually came in to one of our meetings one time with his dad and was like, I'm never joining this church. I'm never quitting drinking. Like, why are you, I never even talked to the guy. All I did was say hi to him. I'm like, hey, Rob, how you doing, man? Nice to meet you. He's like, I want you to know I'm never going to quit drinking. I'm never going to join the church. I don't even care about coming to this prayer meeting. I don't even know why I'm here. And I'm like, Rob, I don't care. Dude, I mean, why don't we just go shoot pool or something? Mm-hmm. And so we did, and we just became friends that way. And it was never any pressure, it was never like, I'm just not that kind of guy. And, but I grew up like in Michigan, and, I grew up in the Saginaw, Michigan area, pretty diverse area. And, I wasn't really a Christian, didn't grow up a Christian, wasn't really interested in that kind of stuff. And I joined the Marine Corps. And when I joined the Marine Corps, I met this chaplain, and really just kind of changed my life, started a relationship with him. And, that relationship with that chaplain grew into a great friendship, and kind of is backdoor how I ended up, in ministry, off to seminary, all that kind of stuff. And of course, I used that famous GI Bill as much as I could. Took advantage of Uncle Sam as much as I could in that regard. But this is my wife, Jeannie, here. Hi. Jeannie she's from Okinawa, even though she's Filipino. I pastored Jeannie's church. It was an international church right in a place in Okinawa called Kitanaka-Gusku. And it's right outside of Camp Foster, what we call like Gate 5, the Kitamai Gate, right? Is that what they call that? And so Legion Gate. I'm sorry, Legion Gate. And it's out the back door there. And Jeannie worked at the Navy Hospital in Okinawa, and she was my church secretary. So I decided, I'll do what every good pastor does, and I'll run off with my church secretary.
Perfect.
And so, here are these are my friends here from Okinawa. They are I kind of came onto them from watching on Facebook, and I'm part of that. Like, I used to live in Okinawa stuff, and I think someone on there had a link to to Mary and to David. To their what I would refer to as more than just a group. This is not Okinawa Americana. To me, is something exciting and vibrant, because what it essentially is something to connect people, and it's something that connects people across cultures and across the continents, and really, like, it brings us back home to Okinawa. Everyone who's been in Okinawa, there's one major theme, and that is, you want to go back. You leave there and you're like, why did I leave this place? You're You're not meant to leave this place. You go to Okinawa, like you feel when you're there, sometimes you feel a little trapped, but then when you leave, you're like, why did I ever leave that place? So, these guys have a skill at making us feel like we're back home in Okinawa. And they're able to do that in the middle of the COVID virus in such a way that it's healing and therapeutic. It makes us feel not only like we're back in Okinawa with friends and family and with the cool music and the sounds that come from Okinawa. I mean, the sounds from Okinawa are unique. How David has been able to add blues, rhythm and blues infuse that into just the traditional sounds of Okinawa with Mary. I mean, it's divine. I mean, it's something divinely inspired, in my opinion. So yeah, that's how I met them, and here they are.
Thank you. So Mary and David, I can't put you both on the same song because I have to put it's all there. Mary and David, why don't you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself? Joel kind of.
Well, I'll go first. I just want to tell you that I'm not joining this church. I'm never going to quit drinking, and I'm just kidding. I'm joking. No, but first of all, you get me choked up, man, talking about all these good things about us, Joel. That's really nice of you to say that. But yeah, I'm Dave Ralston, and I've lived in Okinawa since 1992. So I've been here for a long time in the witness protection program. It's been an awesome thing. But I moved here and started playing music here and learned music here. And it's just a weird story, but I always, when you guys have lived in Okinawa, both of you guys have lived there, right?
I haven't.
Yeah.
Okay, so you haven't. So Joel, and I know you and your wife remember like an oboe season when this dude's rolling through there with the big ass drums, come, right?
Yeah.
And
you can never sleep. Yeah,
you can't sleep, and it's always at the wrong time. But it's really cool. So I always kind of heard that, and for some reason, it just kind of morphed its way into the music that I was making. And then I've been playing for like 20 something years, and then I met Mary about 6 years ago, and then we started this thing and changed the name to Okinawa Americana, and then everybody can understand what that is without having to explain it. Well, it's this guy with looks like a 50-year-old Jesus that plays this music, and then he's got this Okinawa girl with a kimono that plays, and they're like, what? But then if you just say Okinawa Americana, it's kind of easier to understand.
It kind of rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? It's a good name.
Anyway, that's what I do. I don't know, Mary, you want to do your best? Introduce yourself.
Okay, I try my best. So I'm born in Okinawa, and my grandmother plays sanshin, but when I got interesting after she's died. But I start this learn sanshin, then this sanshin is take me many places. So
Show everybody that. Show everybody what that is again, so they can see it.
This is Okinawan instrument.
Wow.
こうだね。こうね。Yes. Okinawa sanshin.
Three string instrument.
Yes. Okay, so this sanshin take me many places. So I count the countries. I went to 22 countries.
Wow.
So with myself, sometimes with the Okinawa dancers to show the local people. Then I saw many situations of people, like poor people or rich or just normal. So I feel something. Then 6 years ago I met Dave. Then I had questions why I play music before, but now before I singing for my parents for like always like feeling something. Thank you.
Yes.
So, but my parents already both got died. So
Yes.
just I thinking how I sing the future, or for I sing for what? That's my
Yes.
question before. But I met Dave, so I something find reason why I do music, because make me people happy.
Yes.
So
And
that's more I clear when I met him.
that's amazing, because like I you beat me, Mary, to the question like why you do Okinawa Americana, but we're gonna touch more upon that later. But I want to go around. All of us are here. Joel, we talked about this many times about COVID-19 and how it's affecting a lot of us, and why do we do what we do? I know you guys been doing this 15 weeks. 15 weeks.
Well, yeah. We took a week off, so this was our 16th show that we did just like 30 minutes ago. So we did 16 weeks of it.
Yeah, and it's so I just like to start with Joel. And I know you've been on the podcast before, and this is a new venture for. What do you think maintaining? Why is it so important for us to maintain wellness during this and recovery during this COVID-19? Like, a lot of us could shut down and say, "What's the point?" Mary was beginning to tell us why she found purpose to continue to do music to help to make people happy. So
are you asking like how do you maintain wellness during COVID-19?
Not so much how, but like why is it so important today, and how have you maintained your wellness? So yes, both parts.
Well, I've done that through watching these guys. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like I've been swamped during COVID-19. Actually, life has gotten more busy for me, not less busy.
Yeah.
What Mary's sharing there is very important. Like, I know it seems simple and it seems silly, but like Mary does these little cool things with like little trinkets, like Okinawa trinkets, and she like dances in front of the camera with them. When she does that, not only does it make my heart melt and and make me connect to what they're doing there, but man, it just little things like that, when you're distanced from each other, it makes you feel human. It makes you feel like Mary's not afraid to be 5 years old sometimes, right? Like she's not afraid to do that. Like she does these little things in her videos that like make you feel like, it's okay just to let loose. It's okay just to feel like a kid, and to connect to that. And she does such a powerful job at that. And so does David. I mean, the little conversations they add into their 1 hour show, their 1 hour segment. I look forward to it every Saturday, and they're into 16 weeks now. Sometimes I've had to watch it afterwards. Like now I haven't been able to watch it live, but my life is so chaotic, man. I'm doing clinicals at the hospital. I got overnights at the hospital. I've watched COVID people die, and then I've had to hear people like in my own church talk about how like it's all a myth and like, the mask thing is a joke. And, you would think 100 years of wearing masks, like people would think, they work, but that the fact is like, there's nothing to protect us against this virus except for some little common sense things, but there's plenty to keep us connected and to keep us grounded in who we are. And what Mary and David do is, they make us feel human in the middle of being dehumanized. And this is out of a lot of people's control. Like the COVID virus is not in our control. It's not within our grasp. And I think I mentioned before, like my own grandfather died from COVID virus, and his funeral's on Monday. And, it's in Michigan, and I'm busy. I got work and I got other things. I'm going to do like some type of, like tribute for all the different stories that I know from him. And I'm going to interview each person in the family, put together like a little 5-minute kind of collage from each person, and just try to do something with that. I was supposed to do his funeral, but in the middle of all these things you can't do. Yeah. In the middle of all these things you can't do, this group comes on, Okinawa Americana. And I have this deep connection to Okinawa for the last 20 years. It isn't new. I have 4 kids, and they're all from Okinawa. They're all like, Hambunko, and we have Futago, and they're not even connected with their Okinawan roots, and they're able to do that. They're able to take the best of these two worlds and make me feel like, I'm part of it when COVID keeps me so distant from it.
That's I like what you said. Getting to know Mary, and she could be 5 years old. I remember the story of John Lennon. Everyone knows John Lennon. John Lennon was asked at 6 years old, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And the teacher asked him, and everyone says astronaut, firefighter, everything. He says, "I want to be happy." That's it. And being older, you're kind of like it makes sense. And for many of us, right now we want to be happy, and we're going to go more into that. But David, how about David or Mary, whichever? Why do you think wellness? Maintaining wellness, or like you guys are doing each week, doing this live stream, connecting, making people happy. Why is that so important, especially today?
What I mean, for me, it's important because as a musician or as an entertainer, I guess, and when you get that taken away from you.
Yeah.
Because, you really, when this happened, this is what's crazy. We were supposed to be, our biggest tour ever was going to be Europe, and that was supposed to go last month.
Yeah.
And we were going to play the Japan Tag Festival with 600,000 people, and we were the opening act coming from Japan. So it was like a huge thing. And so then you get the chair pulled out from you, like,
yeah.
Right. So we're just like, man, what are we going to do? And so we decided that, well, we could sit around and feel sorry for ourselves, or we can, piece our way together this whole virtual thing and just try to do that. And, but if we don't play, if we don't entertain or whatever, I think that hurts us inside.
Yeah.
For us. So if we can, if we can play and then we see the reaction. But I'm at the point now where if there's 10,000 people watching or one person watching, it doesn't matter. As long as we can, entertain and make somebody forget about how crappy things are back home or anywhere else. That's what we're here for.
And you touch on a good point. The idea that you're playing, but it helps you because you're sharing. All of us, we're humans, and sharing is inherently what we do. We're not islands. We can't just sit in a box. And that's very true right now, as everyone says, everyone sees right now. How about you, Mary? Anything you want to share, like briefly?
So, and I hope my answer is correct.
Okay.
But I use PocketDoc.
This is a big part. This is a big part right here. Like this pocket thing.
Dozo.
Okay. このコロナが引き起こした最悪なシチュエーションは、私たちをオンラインでたくさんの人たちとつなげるとてもいい機会になりました。
The worst situation that this corona caused was a great opportunity to connect us online with a lot of people.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I do understand.
So,
I think
just if we went to Germany and play many people's, so that's only one way. Like it, people can say, "Oh," but we cannot talk each other. But online, the Facebook Live show or on streaming is we can talk with today's joined 70 people or so we can talk many people and we can conversations. That's this I think special these situations.
I think you just kind of progressed where I wanted to go was social distancing and how that implies sometimes just because we're physically apart doesn't mean we need to be socially. We could still connect even better sometimes in the way that we connect to more people in conversations, like you said, as opposed to going to a big concert and everyone's like, yeah, but you never connect with them. But now you can, and it's a great. I just love how you look at something like everyone can look at something and say, oh, this is horrible, and say and go on how much they don't have. But Mary, you're saying how much you do have, and that's wonderfully inspiring, especially now that everyone's stuck at home. I could make so many excuses not to do and say, I don't have. But we do have. Social distancing means that we're physically distancing. Doesn't mean that we're socially or connecting, not connecting. And I feel that that's very important. David, do you have anything you want to add?
Well, I think the other thing that happens too, and I'm guilty of this, and you guys remember when all this started, or when the Gulf War started, or any of this, you just sit there and you just watch the news. Right. And it doesn't matter what side of the news you're on. It's just like either everything's horrible and we're all going to die a horrible death, or there's no problem, but everybody's just hating on each other.
Yeah.
And then it just got really bad. And then the protests started, and then everybody even got more mad, and it divided everybody that much more, where you're starting to see people, if you have a different opinion, F that dude. Yeah, I'm never talking to him again. He was my friend for 30 years. And I'm starting to see that kind of stuff. I'm like, man, what is wrong with you guys? And if you get caught up in that whole thing, and I think your brain feeds on this, your brain feeds on negativity. And the more you feed it, it's just like, oh, everything sucks.
Exactly. And when you feel that way, and you're stuck there. I remember people in my group. I see, I do support group for people with mental illness. And what I find is that a lot of times they're like, oh, I watch the news. And then I'm like, listen, if you watch the news till 4 a.m., you'll be the most informed sick person I know. So I tell them this, because the thing is, you can know so much, but at the end of the day, you still need to take care of you. You need to find value that you have. Mary sees this situation as an opportunity, not as what she doesn't have. When you kind of get stuck of what you don't have, especially that you're alive, you're here today, you're listening, you're watching, whoever's watching right now, be thankful for that you're here, that you're alive right now, that you have someone that you could spend this moment, because a lot of people unfortunately don't have. So this gratitude is huge when I find, and especially in my own recovery. Joel mentioned before that my situation was a big leap of faith moving forward, but at the same time, it was a lot of healing. And what provides that healing is being grateful. The things you're saying, helping people, serving people. And I think that's wonderful that you're sharing that. Joel, I forgot about you. Social.
Well, no, I mean, actually, we're just over here trying to share. I mean, that's why she's looking down at the phone and she's not trying to be rude. She's trying to share that thing out to people, for people to kind of get the word. And go ahead.
Okay, well, I just want to, right now, I want to shift gears. This is just so great to have people from all different avenues and trains of thoughts, but we're all the same in the sense that we're here together, trying to encourage, and music is a big part right now. Okinawa Americana, I love the name. How have you seen music? I heard of music therapy. I've been in therapy, music therapy. I've seen music do amazing things in people's lives. What have you seen when it comes to music in your own life and people around you?
Oh, I mean, I'll tell you that. I'm a spectator, but I'm more than a spectator. Like, I mean, I haven't been able to really exercise my craft either, because I'm here a pastor, and a lot of times my skill is not highly valued. I'm a drummer, I'm a percussionist, and so a lot of times it's not really valued in the church the way I wish it was. And my wife is a singer, and if you'd ever look up. Trying to share that thing out, but basically, how has music been important to me? Well, our family, like, every weekend we sing karaoke. We have like a very expensive karaoke setup, because we take music pretty seriously. We take karaoke pretty seriously. And one of the tough things about singing with Filipinos is if you don't have a good sense of self-worth, you don't feel like you ever want to sing with them again. Because I've never met someone from the Philippines who doesn't have this amazing, beautiful voice that projects.
Yeah, why is that? Why is every person I've ever met from there an awesome singer or musician? Like I've got literally hundreds of Filipinos in my life, and every one of them is good at something artistic.
Well, it's crazy. Jeannie can say it. Talk to that. Talk to that.
I think because it's embedded since like childhood, even the school system, they what do you call it? They teach you actually. They open programs for singing contests, whatever, like even dance contests. They do that all the time.
Yeah.
So even at home, it's highly encouraged. They would give money for kids who will sing. Like if there's family occasion or something like that for kids to sing, sometimes they'll give them some award like money. Who's gonna sing? I'll give you something.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that is like it's not just this thing to try to promote, I don't know, self-aggrandizement or like trying to find your way into stardom. It's really a way to connect the community together. And they love spending time with each other. Actually, we love spending time with each other doing that. I mean, like our family gets into that, and we. They make fun of me because I'll do like really goofy things and try to entertain them or make up like new lyrics and stuff like that. But when we're all done with that, we just feel better about who we are. We feel better about being part of a family. We feel better about our friends. Our whole attitudes shift because of music. Now, like listening to these guys and the way that they've been able to hone their craft and how they've been able to kind of centralize it into this really, when you say Okinawa Americana, I don't know if everybody understands this, but Okinawa has a long American history. And for some, that's not so positive, and for some, that's really positive. There's mixed feelings about it. And music bridges the gap between those two groups of people. I think music really shifts people's attitudes, helps them to see the good in humanity, and people that you would think would be the most negative and would just find a way to see the politics. Like in Okinawa, there's all kinds of politics. Like the base is this, there's just always an argument over something. Like right now they're on lockdown, and that's super discouraging. I've been going to Okinawa since the 90s too. And like, I remember just when like the president came and some incident happened. And when Bill Clinton came in 99, and when Bill Clinton came, this incident that happened like between a national Okinawa national and a Japanese national and a Marine, resulted in lockdowns. And like, you can't go out, you can't do anything. Well, what do you have? On base, you have some things you can do.
Burger King.
Burger King, yeah. Charlie's, right? I don't know what Anthony's. They used to have the Globe and Anchor. I don't know what they have anymore. Like,
yeah, they ripped that down. That's a whole other show.
Yeah.
I'll tell you some stories about that place.
That was a long time ago. I loved that tortilla soup. Man,
that was great.
That was tough. But what do you do? You have all these lockdowns. Well, music has a way of changing that. I remember being in the barracks and we would just like we'd have parties in there, man, and the music just made us feel better about our crappy situation. And it just does that. Typhoons, what do you do? What do you do when you have a typhoon? You crank up the music, man, and you find a way to enjoy it. In the Marine Corps, we have this saying. We call it "embrace the suck." Right? So yeah, music is everything. Now, when I'm in a chaplaincy setting, now that I'm this reformed guy, and I'm in the room with a patient and whatever they're going through, I'll tell you that there has been more times than I can count that like the last thing somebody wants in their life is to listen to a song that brings back nostalgic feelings to connect with, what their husband and wife, like, kind of what their song was with each other. Like, one of them might be dead and the other one, they're just kind of, they're on their way out. And so they've connected through that. And even further than that, like, sometimes people just find music as a frame of reference for what they're going through at that time. It's like the song can relate, and it's very interpretive. So I don't know. I mean, that's just my uneducated opinion. But
no, I really like, basically you're hitting it, the idea of music connects.
Yeah, it connects.
Yeah.
Music connects all of us.
It can also help you express your emotions, your way of thinking, on how you feel about certain stuff that people usually have a hard time expressing themselves. It's a way to express how you feel.
Because words could go so far. I could say it one way versus another way, and it's only goes so far. The added element of music does add that depth, and also
one thing, Rob, that I don't want to dominate the time. I actually want these guys to be able to talk. But my grandfather, he died, and one of the major songs. I mean, this might sound abnormal or even kind of gross for some people, but everybody in the family remembers my grandfather from anywhere in the house, in the toilet, singing this particular song. It was like, just like some kind of like tune that he would sing in the bathroom, right? And I know that's really strange, but when you think of this growing up with this guy as a kid, like we've all tried to mimic that tune. Like, it's the bath, and like, it's got like these highs and lows, like when certain things are happening even in there. And then, like, those are things we remember about people, right? Music is very much infiltrated, and it's very, very, like, how do you say, internalized, more than most things really are.
Yeah. Thanks. It does connect, just like how food does connect families together. So, David, Mary, thoughts? I'm sorry. Anything you want to share about music? How's it important to you? Mary, you could go ahead. Why do you think?
So I want to say simple point. So, have you ever seen people singing and angry? Do you understand?
Yeah, I see.
So,
singing and angry. Yeah,
I think I never seen
that.
Angry singer. Like if you get mad, but if you please sing. So if an angry person singing makes him smile.
Yeah.
But difficult to angry and singing same time.
I see.
That's a music power, I think.
It's funny. Joel knows this, but my mom is South Korean. I'm half South Korean, half Puerto Rican. And the thing is, my grandfather passed away 3 years ago. When I was 8, 9 years old, we talk about karaoke. I wanted to not say anything. He said, "Go up there and sing." I just sing. He just said it his own way. He didn't know English. He's like, "Oh." And I went up there and I sang "Boys to Men," and I did poorly. I did so bad, but he made me sing everything. He's like, again and again and again. And I just, it was one of those moments that I still remember. Music, I remember my grandfather that way. He's always been that rock. David, we haven't heard from you. Music, why is it important?
Well, I mean, every one of us has been at a very low point in our life.
Yeah.
And you guys remember when, like really low, like you're deep down there, right? And then you hear these different songs either on the radio or wherever, and it's like they're singing straight to you. You guys notice that like, I think when you're really down, music means even more than it does on a regular day.
Yeah.
That's just what it seems to me. And that's just one example. Another thing, if you're really tired and you're on the treadmill or you're on the bicycle or whatever, and you're just like, man, this sucks. I don't know if I can keep going. Then you hear whatever song you're listening to, it just gets you fired up. And I don't know there's got to be some kind of, smart people that know about what that does to your brain. But
Yeah.
It definitely music for, and those are the two things. But the other one is like, I know for a fact, like this, that our music somehow brings people together.
Yeah.
And even when we're not, even if we can't come play in a concert hall or wherever that we normally would play, doing this stuff, I mean, it brought us together today.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so those are those three things I wanted to say about that. And it does, man. If you just listen to music and helps you, and just reach out and find these things, and don't just,
yeah.
And people will help you, man. All you gotta do is ask.
Sorry.
What's wrong? Nothing. Okay. You know, nothing's wrong. Okay.
No, yeah, and you know, I you know, I'm just thinking, I want to, if it's okay with you, Mary and David, I have a few videos you shared with me, and I wanted to shift over and share with everyone who's watching a little bit about Okinawa Americana, and then we'll go into more about Okinawa Americana and what you have been doing, and why do you do it? You know, Mary was starting to talk about it, so we'll just go from there. I'm going to share my screen right now. Just give me a moment, and then we'll go from there. So, go here. So here we are. We're going to go ahead and play the first one. Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure. 1 second. Give me a second. I want to make sure the sound is on point. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Now I'm gonna play it. Ready?
Well, I've been here for a long, long time, mixing up music with some friends of mine. Guitar, song, taco, drum. Mary's voice just shine like the sun. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. We live in a place where the people know that the secret of life is to let your troubles go. Okinawa's where we come from. It's nice to meet you. Let's have a little fun. Come on.
That's all we do.
Well, come on. We gon' share our island with you. Open our hearts, don't let us shine through. Leave your troubles and kiss the next light. None too nice, I mean it's gonna be alright. We gon' play our music for you. It's okay if you wanna drink a little too. It's good to see you on this beautiful night. It's none too nice, I mean it's gonna be alright. Alright. It's gonna be alright. Cause I've been here for a long, long time, mixing up music with some friends of mine. Guitar, some shin, taco, drum. Baby's voice just shine like the sun. Yes, it does. We gon' share our island with you. Open our hearts, gon' let us shine through. Leave your troubles and catch the next flight. None too nice, I mean it's gonna be alright. We gon' play our music for you. It's okay if you wanna drink a little tea. It's good to see you on this beautiful night. It's none too nice, I mean it's gonna be alright. Alright.
That's Okinawa
Hey.
Akunamakata.
I'm already happy. We're done. I'm already done. I'm
Thanks for
already
tuning
done.
in, everybody. We'll see you next week.
That was that made me ready. I was smiling the whole time. It was just like it just felt nice. It felt nice. Mary, if you were asked me to sing that song, I could not be angry. I cannot stay angry singing that song. I cannot stay angry.
Sometime recording, David said, "Hey, sound like an angry voice."
Yeah.
So I
I do
can
it all the
sing
time.
angry voice, but
So
I
the
cannot
first
feel
intro
angry.
song that you did is Hiamikachi, right? So I want her to sing it more like a rock and roll thing. I'm like, you need to sing it more. Get mad. And she's like, I can't. And I was like, well, what are those? Aren't those wrinkles on your face right there? And she's like, so she got mad.
I love me being Joel knows this, but when I came to Florida, it was not in happy situation. I was coming down because I really I had no future. I really had nothing going on for me because I was disabled, mentally ill, and VA disabled and all that stuff. So I felt more of a burden. When I met Joel, I started to get purpose. It wasn't just him; it was a lot of people in my life, and for that, it's the value that we have never goes away. It's just that we lose track of it. It's right there, and I remember Joel telling me, and he shared with me this one thing that I'm getting married this year, and it's a wonderful thing. September, I know, I at the same time, Joel shared with me this idea of shame versus guilt, and it really helped me. I already knew it, but he said it really well, and he said it's one thing to feel guilty and want to do better, and it's another thing to feel shame and say I did something wrong, then my value is less. And so many times I know I've got caught up in that. Music has been a great source for all of us. I can tell right now to connect. Right now, social distancing doesn't mean we don't connect. And we have Okinawa Americana that proves that. Thank you so much. Any last thoughts you guys want to share with us as we kind of wrap up? Hold on, let me get to
I just sent you our thing. That's what I told Joel this morning, is because Joel helped us kind of refocus on why we're doing what we're doing too, because he messaged me last week, and I've never met him before. And he's like, you guys really realize what you're doing. And he kind of summed it up in the beginning. But so I told him today is the purpose of life is a life of purpose. And so I was trying to explain what that was to Mary. It's like our purpose is to, to continue to do, because it's like he said, it's not a music thing, what we do. It's just thing that it's weird. Like all these different people will find us, and they'll ask us to, hey, do you want to do this? So now we're going to help old folks in the hospital, and we help orphan kids, and we also we go to prisons and and play music. It doesn't matter. We play for everybody from prisoners to priests, and we don't care, as long as we can, continue to make some kind of impact and it makes us happy, and we'll keep doing it.
That's awesome. Mary, anything you want to share?
Wait, I tried it. Sorry. Okay. 今日の私たちの会話で新しいことを気づくことができました。
We were able to discuss something new in our conversation today.
Do you understand? So today's conversation make me good idea and good conversation.
Yes.
So,
yes. It was such a
and good English class. 何?
いい会話。
いい会話. Yes. So good study for English to me too.
Yes. Great. Thank you so much, Mary.
Good opportunity today.
Yes. Joel. Genie.
Well, we're burning up hot here. Our air condition is not working. If it wasn't for music, we'd be angry.
Yeah, that's right.
Angry. So, no, I mean, you know, sometimes even that angry rock that you're talking about, I mean, you get done with that and you still feel good, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it decompresses. It let go of all that tension. It's just,
there's something. Yeah, there's definitely something there with that.
Yeah.
You know, music is so connective that, you know, when I speak all the time, you know, like more than once a week. You know, I'm involved in professional speaking all the time. You know, tomorrow we have a wedding. You know, every week I have, you know, different sermon engagements and speaking events and teaching and all kinds of stuff. You know, even seminary classes that I've been part of, you know, in kind of a professor role. And, you know, the bottom line is this, is like, it hardly ever makes an impact without a connected,
Job opening.
without a connective song associated. That's like, you know, like that happens in a diner.
Music.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, the thing is, it hardly ever makes an impact if there's not a connective song. Like anytime I speak, like if there's not a song that really ties it together, it's just not as powerful. It's just not as impactful. And so, you know, just in my setting, man, I couldn't do what I do without music.
Yeah.
In coronavirus, I've had so many people distance themselves from the church, and it's made it harder to get people involved in music. And we've tried the logistical thing with you know, with getting people to sing online and stuff, and it can be a nightmare with latency problems, and like it's just overcoming some of that technology issues. But bottom line is this: is like we all miss music when we don't have it in this setting that we're in here. But we have found creative ways to work around it and to make sure it's still an important part of what we do in the church setting, and what we do like in our own personal lives. But just again, kudos to Mary and David, because without what they're doing, you know, coming into our living room, basically, and we put it on our big screen, we got it hooked to our stereo system, you know, we're jamming with you guys. And if we didn't have that, we would be missing a big piece of our life at this point. So now they're at 16 weeks, you know, 17 week, next week is 17 weeks. I don't want to underemphasize how much work goes into 17 weeks of solid streaming. This is not easy stuff right here.
Yeah.
We've had to learn it on the fly, and we're getting pretty good at it. You know, we're getting decent at it. We've got some good equipment now, and like, but it is not easy. It's very distracting. There's all kinds of stuff going on around you. You know, there's comments coming in. There's this, and you have to be happy the whole time you're doing it. And these guys, they have mastered that. And they make.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of foul language behind the scenes.
We've had some.
Take it till you make it, man. Take it till you make it.
Like,
well,
I don't know. I mean,
I just want to say this, and this kind of goes with every aspect of life, but especially with how things are going. But I'm a big freak about like the old samurai stuff, and I read the Book of Five Rings, and my favorite quote in there, and this works for anything, but it's like, you know, you have to say it with a real mysterious voice, but you have to say, while it may seem difficult at first, everything is difficult at first. Right? So, and that's exactly, that'll work for anything. Everything sucks at the beginning, but everything does. And you just keep getting better at it. And no matter if you're dealing with mental health stuff, or you're trying to stop drinking so much or whatever, everything's hard at first.
Yes.
Yeah.
And nothing's easy. And
nope.
And
I mean, can I ask a question? Because this is something that I've been dying to ask you two, and that is, you know, being so good at your craft, being so good at your skill. I mean, David, you're a killer guitar player, and Mary, you're not only a killer sanshin player and teacher, and everything you're doing, Mary Mask, all the things you're doing. You know, you're an artist. But your beautiful voice and how you've been able to maintain that. Is there a part of this, the hard work that goes into it? Is there a part of the music that is really a little bit of suffering, right? Is there a part of it that's just, you just would like to give up on some of it? That it makes you feel like it's just so hard. You had mentioned, well, why do I keep doing this?
Well,
it's hard, right?
Oh yeah.
Well,
It's hard. I mean, Mary had the same. Okay, when I started playing music, I started the opposite way. Usually, you have to become famous in the States before you can become famous in Japan if you're a foreigner, right? If you're American, right?
Oh yeah.
So I started the opposite way. I started here.
Unless
so everybody, right? Yeah, and everybody's like, "Oh, you can't do this. You can't play original music here. Nobody wants to hear it. You should play all these Eric Clapton songs. You should play all the stuff that people want to hear because people will clap. Hey, you're awesome because you can play Smoke on the Water and Cocaine and all these different songs that everybody wants to hear. But if you're playing your own music, you got to suffer because you're naked out there, man. Everybody's looking at you like, what are you doing? I've never heard that before. So you have to go through this whole thing of breaking yourself down like Rob had to do when his grandpa's like, get your ass up there and sing that Boys to Men song. Right? I had to break you down. And that's what music is. And then you have to have this confidence in yourself that you can do it without being arrogant, without being like, because you have to go out there. And the same with public speaking, Joel, you got to get out there and, you still get that bead of sweat that goes down your back into your pants, right? We all do. But you have that stuff helps you. And the more that you do it, it may seem difficult at first, but everything's difficult at first. Yeah. And Mary had the same thing. People told Mary, you should play this way and have this teacher and do this kind of thing. And Mary's had an afro. She's got blonde hair. She wears crazy cowboy boots with a kimono. She don't care.
So our friend give us many ideas, like do this. But we can choose what is more fun. So if for fun to me, like if not fun, I can't do the smile. But if I enjoy and happy, so I can do this.
Yeah.
And so our friends makes us to bring something somewhere to good things. I feeling something, but I don't know destinations. But these situations, so we couldn't choose. Oh, what should we do? Like we cannot play concert, we cannot go outside, but fun makes us to the invite to somewhere. They show the road. So
like today.
They show
Yeah.
Just like now. I mean, I never thought 2 weeks ago we'd be doing this.
It's funny. There's a quote that I like that I use a lot. It's the willingness to consider possibility requires a tolerance of uncertainty. It's life. You have to be able. I said this to you when we were just checking out. The good news in life is only as good as the bad news. There has to be a contrast. But anyway, I just want to say again, thank you, all of you, for being on this live stream. This is a new venture for Revive Ministries. We've been doing podcasts for quite some time, and Joel talked about.
Okay, Katsuyashi, Mary. See.
There you go.
Hey.
If people want to, reach out to us and talk to us, you can share all them Facebook links and our OkinawaAmericana.com, and
yes,
we're happy to talk with anybody too, and if you guys want us to, I wish we could come play at your wedding. But when we come back, we're definitely going to West Virginia, and we're going to come see you in Florida, Rob.
That'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. How about one last thing was I just always like to say one quote that kind of speaks to me that we've been saying all through the night. And it's a quote that I've been using ever since I started Revive Ministries. And it says, "May our choices reflect our hopes, not our fears." You're a happy people. I feel happier listening to your music, talking to you people, and it's been a great experience. And yeah, I just want to say this is goodbye from Revive Ministries live stream. Anyway, you guys, thanks again for being on here. We are gonna be doing a live stream myself. This is my third live stream. I did 3 in 1 week, basically.
All right.
So this is my third live stream.
Good job, Rob.
Best, fake it till you make it. So we're gonna end with another song. It's a little short video to close us off, but again, thank you everyone for being a part of this, and I hope you all the best and continue to connect with one another.
Awesome. Thank you.
天の森星照らしたぼり人の